We're going to continue talking about this rookie draft class. We're going to take it one player at a time. And today's spotlight gets Kayshon Boutte. We've talked about him in a few videos. I like him. One of my favorite wide receiver prospects in this class. Been watching him for quite some time now. He turns 21 in May, so he's not going to be an older wide receiver prospect, which is good. Had a crazy career at LSU. He was once considered one of the top wide receivers in all of college football, and then things just happened. Things have folded that impacted his career. He blew up at the end of his freshman season in 2020. He was awesome. In his last 3 games of that season, he had 526 yards and 4 touchdowns. That last game, he capped it off with 308 yards and 3 touchdowns against Ole Miss. He really blew up at the end of that season and continued to go strong into his sophomore season before he got injured. He had 9 touchdowns in 5 games. Looked like he was going to take over college football, and then that injury ended his season, and then things started to shake up as we went into 2022. We got a new head coach in, Brian Kelly. He was coming back from that injury. It was a slow start to the year, very up and down, but he had some good plays, some good moments at the tail end of the season, and against Georgia, he really came out, catching 6 balls for 170 yards and a touchdown. Looked good there, but that 2022 season was a huge question mark on his career because prior to that, he looked like one of the top wide receivers in college football. We had some glimpses there of hope in 2022. The production wasn't there. He averaged 6.4 yards after the catch per reception on his career and 1.99 yards per route ran. Those numbers were definitely higher during his sophomore and freshman seasons. But still, we are working off both sides here. We got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde here. And when we're looking at the production and some of the tape, but looking at the tape, looking at both sides here, he's very explosive after the catch. He's nasty, strong hands, very assertive player. He's assertive with the ball in his hands. He's assertive when the ball's in the air, and he's explosive, especially coming off the cuts. He can create separation like that, and he's explosive going after the ball. And then after the catch, that first couple steps, he snatches the ball out of the air, and he's quick to turn upfield. He wants to get downfield. He wants the ball in his hands. He has that my ball mentality, which you like. After the catch, he is elusive, has a good dead leg, can throw around that stiff arm. There are some instances with focus drops that you've seen in there, but overall, he can catch the ball away from his body, has strong hands, has shown that multiple times, can make the splash plays, can make the tough catches, can make the contested catches. He's a big play waiting to happen, and we've seen that off and on throughout his career. He can break off his routes. He's very snappy, limited drift, can really create separation that way. Honestly, the negatives to his game is really just consistency. There's focus drops. Sometimes he can't come down with a contested catch. Being consistent with his release package, being consistent, running the routes, selling his routes, not always the same Kayshon Boutte from play to play. If he just tightens things up and just goes back to what he was doing in 2020, 2021, we could have a hell of a prospect on his hands. He has the talent to be the best wide receiver in his class. He has that. You also catch him doing these blips on tape in games that causes you to scratch your head, but you know when he's on, he's on. He is going to flirt with being a first-round rookie draft pick, and really the NFL draft is going to give us the answer. If he's drafted in the first round, early second round, you're drafting him up in the first round of rookie drafts, especially in 1 QB, because we're not diluted by the quarterbacks. So he's definitely going to get some value there, especially goes to a good spot. Definitely can see that happen. There is some risk there. He is a little bit of a gamble. Is he worth the gamble? Hell yes, with the upside. The best time to pull the trigger on him is probably when you're sick of the running backs. When you feel like the running backs are kind of like in the hole and he's still available, it's probably the best time to pull the trigger. We don't know if that's going to happen or how the ADP is going to pull up, but we know that there's a good chance he's going to end up in the first round or second round. Or if he flops in his face during the draft process, we're going to know during the NFL draft, and it will just fall in the draft that way. But we'll see. But coming into the 2022 season, regarded as one of the top wide receiver prospects in all of college football, still regarded as one of the top talents, a guy you need to keep an eye on, and I think he is worth the gamble as long as the NFL draft says he is. And if he gets a high draft capital, if he is a day 2, day 1 pick, you gotta look at him. I think the odds of him being day 1 isn't exactly that high, but I feel like there's good possibilities of him being in day 2. I feel like that's good to happen, and there's a chance he goes day 1. He could also fall in the draft. Remember, we had that video talking about the sex party allegations, that alleged thing that happened. There's also other off-the-field incidents that weren't really that crazy. Nothing really to knock him for, like him not showing up to certain events with Brian Kelly's staff in the offseason last year, him coming off the injury. There was a time where he swiped off all his information off social media that related to LSU, which I don't regard as an off-the-field issue or a question mark, but an NFL team might, or 32 NFL teams might. I don't know, but that's something you got to think about. To me, I feel like what I see on tape, what I've seen over his career, what I've seen in 2022, remember he's coming back from an injury. The college news sources aren't as good as giving you all the information. So him coming back from the injury, coming back and playing, just showing you that he has some dog in him, and then coming at the end of the season, showing you some big moments, making some plays, having some production, and maybe next year after, when he's further removed from that injury, he starts showing his old self again, which is what we want. And if he does, best wide receiver in the class, because that's what he was. He was a top-tier wide receiver, looked like he was going to turn into a generational talent. He was doing that well. Injury happened, change of coaching staff, crazy 2022. Almost came back for 2023, but decided to come back for the 2022 NFL draft class. Still think he's worth the gamble. I love the upside here, and you know I always take the gamble, chase the upside. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. I look at him as the George Pickens of this class, the guy who had the low last year college that's going to allow you to get that discount. The guy has the talent, for whatever reason, isn't getting that value. And if he gets drafted anywhere, day 1 or day 2, like George Pickens did, you know he's going to be a good value in rookie drafts that you can really just throw some darts at the piñata, see what happens. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you buying, selling, trading, holding, whatever with Kayshon Boutte? I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. It's only going to help you with your rookie drafts going forward and your dynasty